Our topic this month is what's your heart's desire? We're going to dive deep today with our very own Reverend Alfreda Lanoix, our very own Regina Lark, and all of you, all of us. How wonderful it is to join. And you know, today is our last service before Christmas.
Wow.
This is the last Sunday that we get together on Zoom for Christmas. However, next Sunday, December 19th, we are having an in-person gathering. So we are having an in-person, yeah, let's applaud that, right? Oh my gosh, we're getting together in person at Plummer Park for a holiday party and solstice celebration. So that will be next Sunday, December 19th at Plummer Park from 1 to 3 p.m. You did get an email or an invite. Please RSVP so we know how much food to bring. It's going to be a great time. It will be outdoors. Definitely dress accordingly, but it'll be so nice for us to get together to celebrate the holidays and to see each other in person. While we are at this gathering, we invite you to bring non-perishable food items so that we can support our LGBT elders at Triangle Square. So this is a great opportunity to give back to those who paved the road for us. We want to support our seniors. So do remember, 1, RSVP so that we know how much food to bring, but 2, bring a non-perishable food item so that we can support the people at Triangle Square. Great way to just open our hearts for the holidays. Our topic again is what's your heart's desire? And we're definitely looking forward to this teaching from Reverend Alfreda and Regina's sharing as well. But first and foremost, whether you've been here or whether it's your first time, let's all bless each other. Let's all make sure that you can see everybody on your screen. Raise your hands and just repeat after me. Welcome to Inspire.
Welcome to Inspire.
We see you.
We see you.
We love you.
We love you.
We appreciate you.
We appreciate you.
You are the unique and specific way
You are the unique and specific way
that God is showing up on the planet.
God is
The world is made a better place because of you. Welcome to Inspire.
Welcome to Inspire.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, everyone. And as I said, we have our gathering next Sunday. And then after that, our next service will be the day after Christmas, December 26th. Our founding minister, Reverend Jesse, will speak on this same topic, what's your heart's desire? It's a great thing to get in touch with, particularly during the holidays when we're so busy trying to figure out what do we do for other people? What do we give for other people? We have our opportunity to turn within and explore our own heart's desire. So we're so thankful that both Reverend Frida and Reverend Jesse assist us in this. So right now, I'm going to invite all of us to just open our hearts a little bit wider. And let's take a couple of moments and just meditate together. So I invite you to allow your eyes to close. And as your eyes are closed, let's imagine that your heart can open even wider. Just feel that for a moment. Take a moment to connect with your breath, just following the natural pattern of inhaling and exhaling. And feeling our heart open wide. And as your attention is on your heart, imagine that the light from your heart shines out in front of you. And you see this brilliant, bright light. And in the brilliance of this bright light, there is no darkness. And so we're already revitalized, restored, rejuvenated. We're already reminded that we're one with everything. This light shines everywhere and it blesses everyone. So we can't be left out. So as the light is shining in front of you, imagine that it surrounds you, that you are in the center of this beautiful, brilliant, bright light. Just feel that for a moment. And as you are in this brilliant, bright light, you just feel a loving embrace. And in this loving embrace, we simply feel gratitude. So we're embraced by love and feeling gratitude for just a few moments. We just sit in the stillness for just a few moments, continuing to follow the breath. Just following the breath and feeling love. Following the breath and feeling gratitude. And so we let the next breath remind us of where we are, becoming present and recognizing, feeling our bodies again. Eyes still closed, but hearts open even wider, perhaps wiggling the fingers and toes. And as we come out of this meditation, I take this opportunity to speak a word of blessing for today's gathering. Mother, Father, God, infinite intelligence, how thankful I am for this gathering, how thankful I am for this opportunity to turn within and to recognize my connection with the one. For I know that God is all that there is, and I know that all that there is God. One power, one presence, life itself, everywhere present in its fullness, and it shows up as me. And as God shows up as me, God shows up as every person at the service. We're all one with God, which means we're one with each other. And so we're one with the presence of God's love. We are expressions of it, and we open our hearts to receive it and to express even more of it. For I know that our love is a magnet to more love. And so doors are opening for each of us and for all of us in such a way that we get to connect with our heart's desire. I'm thankful for the yes of Reverend Alfreda Lanoix, who helps us to connect with our heart's desire. Thankful for Regina, Lark, who shows up to help us connect with our heart's desire. And I'm thankful to know that the message is unique and specific for each of us, that we each get exactly that thing that reminds us that we are loved, appreciated, and adored by the allness that God is. This is a good service, a launch pad to a fantastic Christmas and a wonderful new year. there's no stopping the goodness of God. So we ride on the wave of greatness and we just enjoy. So for all of this and so much more, I'm thankful and I'm grateful. And I know that as I release this prayer to the action of God's living, loving law, God takes over, guiding and directing us from glory to greater glory. I'm thankful, and so it is. Amen. Thank you, everyone, for showing up. And let's get into our mission statement. I invite our very own Reverend Tom Hennessy to lead us in the mission statement. It'll come up on your screen and we can sing along with Tom.
Okay. This happy holidays, everybody. Merry Christmas. Our mission statement is Inspire is a spiritual community of like-minded souls committed to walking our talk in joyous fellowship by demonstrating the power of love, compassion, and non-judgment every day in every way. Recognizing the divinity of all life, we stand united by actively liberating humanity by healing judgment, fear, and shame within ourselves. Our intention to create world peace, piece by piece. Woo-hoo! And now I present to you our own Regina Lark. Take it away.
Thank you. I'm going to share screen. And I am going to. All right. Well, it's so great to be here. Thank you for inviting me, Amina and Garrick and Tom. I stand in the presence of so much kindness and love and truth and progressive thinking, which is what brought me to Inspire in the first place in August of 2017. And I got to hug all of you and meet all of you. And it's been among my greatest treasures of my life. Well, the theme for today is our heart's desire and exploring our heart's desire. And this book that I just published the last few months, actually published in October, I've been working on it for 5 years. It's definitely an expression of my heart's desire. My background is PhD in women's history. And then I left that world to after I was downsized from a job in 2008. I had to eat. And 2 months later, I started my professional organizing company. And while I was in the space as a professional organizer, I would hear my female clients talk about the weight of the world on their shoulder when it came to their anxiety, depression, frustration, and fear over all the work that has to be done in the home. And they just did not feel equipped to do that. And so my historian hat, listening to women talk about their despair over what's going on in the home, and then taking on additional coursework and training to work with people with brain-based conditions. So a lot of my clients have depression, anxiety, ADHD. And when I put it all together, I began talking to my clients about what is the work that they're doing? And they said, over and over, they talked about it as women's work. And I'm like, well, what the hell is women's work? Because the work of the household, the only time you require a cisgender female is breastfeeding and to give birth. Other than that, it's all work. It's just a hell of a lot of work. Not quite sure why we call it women's work. In fact, I think the concept of women's work is universal. I think it cuts across race, culture, class, geography. Say women's work, and we all have a pretty good idea of what that means. Say men's work, and we all have a pretty good idea that it's a variety of occupations, both white collar and blue collar. Men's work is external to the home. women's work is internal to the home. And I became very curious about that. So I created this book with my awesome collaborator, Judith Kohlberg. And I'm going to talk about my heart's desire through the story of the book's cartoons. When I worked with Judith, at one point, Judith said, wouldn't it be fun if we had some cartoons to break up the text? And so I turned around on my computer and I typed lesbian cartoonist. And I found the great Becky Hawkins, lesbian cartoonist in Portland, Oregon, gave her the manuscript in April, and she came back with these cartoons. So when I talk about women's work, what is women's work? And women's work tends to be never done. Why is that? Who is even asking that question? And not being able to get to it raises feelings of despair, shame, anxiety, guilt, and certainly clutter. And I think the message of women's work has been brought to you by the patriarchy, our jobs, the media. So what is women's work? And what is, I'll step back, this concept of emotional labor. I mean, the book's title is Emotional Labor, and emotional labor is the unseen, unwaged, invisible, unacknowledged, super valuable, undervalued, underacknowledged, and it's supremely important to the health and well-being, not only of our home, but of our societies and our communities. Emotional labor is a good thing. The weight of it tends to be on the shoulders of women-identified women, cisgender women, transgender women, this idea of the work is women's work. And I have this cartoon, the emotionally layered cupcake. And yeah, we're going to bake a cupcake for the kids' school project, but we have to involve the child. Then we have to plan the time to cook. And these are all the invisible elements or the ingredients to doing something as benign or as enjoyable as baking a cupcake. There's a lot of steps to it. And most of these steps, keeping track of schedule, invisible work. Another component of the work that lands on the shoulders of women has to do with having responsibility for, oh, I don't know, everything in the house. And so a lot of these cartoons and a lot of the text in the book comes out of focus groups, my personal journey, what I'm hearing people say. And here we have this cartoon of a person with a briefcase, a set of keys, a cell phone, and a grocery bag. And this person's partner is going, well, where's the ketchup? It's like, you're the one cooking. How come you don't know? This is another cartoon. And one of the things that I became very keen to listening for was in the Zoom room all the time, networking. And I did a lot of networking meetings with cisgender men. And I would hear a lot. I would see these guys sit in the Zoom room and there would be cats and kids all over the place. And I'd say, how's it going at home now? And they would say, well, luckily my wife's not working. And my head would explode. And I would talk to them about what is work. And I would say something snarky like, oh, is she watching Ellen reruns and eating bonbons? Like, what the hell is she doing? No, she's working and she's doing all this kind of work. As I have come into this work, as I understand of emotional labor, I'm taking off from what feminist historians of the 70s and 80s were writing about, and women and the double day. And I think that women have a triple day. And it's all about, here she is sitting at a keyboard doing probably waged work. Then in the bottom part of the cartoon, she's feeding a family. And then the other part of the cartoon, she's taking care of the needs of her elder dad. So it's this constant barrage of work, and most of this work is largely invisible. Another component about the work and the passion that I bring to the table is this understanding of kin work and how women are responsible for maintaining these relationships and getting ready to prepare for these holidays. I think we are now in the week before Thanksgiving and then to the end of the year. I think this is one of the hardest times for women who are feeling the burden of emotional labor and the burden of the amount and work that has to be done. And so without even thinking about it. We engage with the other relationships in our family just to make sure everyone's taken care of and satisfied, and we're dealing with the holidays in ways that gives them emotional comfort and satisfaction, not necessarily for ourselves, but for other people. And the work of emotional labor also has to do with, our heart's desire to fulfill the needs and wants and desires of the people that we love. I think it's okay to do that. I really do. But I don't know if it has to fall on all of our shoulders, on the shoulders of all cisgender women. This is a slide that came out of the fact 100 years ago, when women won the right to vote. There was a lot of fear that if women got the right to vote, that all hell would break loose at home. And I love this cartoon because the teapot on the top right is filled with cobwebs. So apparently she's going to stop dusting if she gets the vote. We talk about in news and at home, we talk about this emotional labor tightrope that women are always on. We see men as commanding and forceful and assertive, they're leaders. And if women exhibit those types of behaviors, they're looked at as demanding, pushy, aggressive, and controlling. This is one of my favorite cartoons. I'm not quite sure when women are coming off the rails why we're identified by animals. I really don't understand that. Nag, bitch, and shrew. I'm going to write an article about that. What do we do at home? We notice everything. We notice things that are not working. We notice things where other people don't notice. The same qualifications that one needs at home in order to do household management are the same skills that are needed in the C-suite, in the workplace. Although the job qualifications where we see the stethoscope and the computer screen and the hard hat, those are all waged and valued components of the paid workforce. But the same task, organizing, budgeting, prioritizing, and having emotional management, are the very same tasks that are required at home, but we don't see them, they're undervalued, and they tend to be invisible. So a woman's work is work. It's just work. And it's learned, and it's valuable, and it's unwritten, and it's undervalued, and it's unwaged. I did a lot of focus groups, and I asked couples to write down, go into separate rooms, write down what they do at home, just brainstorm and lay it all out. And one list was always much, 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 much longer than the other list. And so in the work of emotional labor, you move toward your heart's desire and come to an understanding of what needs to be communicated, how it needs to be communicated, and how do we offset some of the things on this list to the other adult in the household. There's a lot of work involved in disrupting the narrative of emotional labor, but I do believe it's possible. I'm going to skip this because it's kind of long. And what I've noticed in the work that I do is that a lot of people, a lot of the women who do this work, it's just a place of overwhelm. And again, I loved Becky Hawkins' interpretations of these cartoons, because you can see the very bottom drawing at the very end of this cartoon is a bomb. It's just like, it starts out small, but it gets bigger and bigger and bigger until you just want to explode. Those who want to be part of maintaining a happy household and feeling that this is their role in their work, a lot of women mask that difficulty and they put on a good face. I'm fine, everything's good. And we don't think about crying out until we are completely emotionally mismanaged, and we certainly don't ask for help, and we certainly don't delegate. I've noticed a lot of women that I've worked with do not share with me the art and practice of delegation, and I've come to understand that delegating is really, really, really hard for a lot of people, and the book offers tips and strategies for that. And then another component of the work that I did, especially in the focus groups, and this comment comes directly out of the focus groups, I had a lot of women in these focus groups, and they're talking about the frustration, their anxiety, and one of them said, well, we shouldn't be bitching about it. And it's like, back in the day, this was called consciousness raising. And talking about the weight of the world on our shoulders, we have to do it. We just have to. We are not islands. We ought not to be alone in the feeling of the burden. And so how do we even share our anxiety or frustration about it, and giving ourselves permission to do that? And this goes to the question of delegating, to delegate or not. My answer is yes, delegate. Don't even, if you think it ought to be delegated, delegate it. And if you don't know who to delegate it to, then is this something that actually needs to be on your task list? Delegate, do it, or let it go. I'm gonna skip this one. And then in the household, there's a lot of talk about equality versus equity. And I wanna say, give a moment on that. I only have a few seconds, but is it equity if we give the job to the person who knows how to do it the best? That is not equity. That is giving the job to the person that knows how to do it the best. What if a woman is the one in the household that knows how to do all of it the best? Well, yeah, she was raised to notice. She was raised to see it. She was raised to participate in it. So I'm more for equity. How do you distribute the labor equitably with the other adults in the household and kids who are able to know and manage different things in the household? 5% of the proceeds of my book are going to go to 5% of the proceeds of my book are going to go to this fantastic organization called the Marshall Plan for Moms. There's a thought leader in my world named Reshma Sojani. She created a nonprofit called Girls Who Code, and she spent COVID talking to us about this need for subsidized childcare, universal health care, paid family leave. The Marshall Plan was a 1950s program by the US government to present funding to countries to keep them from falling to communism. So Johnny has created a Marshall Plan for moms. And I think that's how you get a hold of Becky Hawkins. Love her. And that's it. Thank you. I'm done.
Thank you,
Okay,
Regina. That was
well-
absolutely beautiful. And now we'll take this and go into our sermon from Reverend Alfreda. Thank you, Regina, and welcome, Reverend Alfreda.
Hey, thank you, Regina. That was amazing. Emotional labor, why a woman's work is never done and what to do about it. I love not only that you bring forth this topic, but you also give us solutions. Because I know as a woman, we constantly put more things on our plates. You know, when I became a reverend, when I became a COO, but the one thing that I did not do was take anything off my plate. And so all of those other tasks that I had, I mean, while you were talking, I was just thinking about how difficult or we don't even think about every single day. It was my job to figure out what we were going to eat as a family every single day. I would be at work and I would, be making these major decisions or choices. And all of a sudden I'd be like, oh my God, what am I going to cook for dinner? Not necessarily realizing that other people could maybe come up with some ideas or delegate or whatever. That was always my major task. Like, what are we eating tonight? So emotional labor, and it truly was labor without maybe any results because it was a continuous. So thank you for this. I think this is so powerful. I think it's so needed. I was talking to my daughter on yesterday, and she was like, everything. It was my grandson's birthday, and she was like asking her ex-husband, do you need this? Do you need that? Just thinking of all the things that were needed in order to make this happen. And that's what we do, So, and we were trained and taught, and society constantly tells us that. They have a commercial that's out now that's with Santa Claus, his wife. And all you see her do is that hard labor. She's hanging up lights and she's in the background, and they say she's never, she never gets any credit, but she's doing all the work. So they are still to this day putting things on our plate. So thank you, Regina. We really honestly needed that, especially for our young women coming up, so that you don't continue the path that we took. But today we're going to talk about getting down to the heart of the matter. I'm not going to be very long, but I was so excited about this topic, the heart of the matter. And as you notice, I have on red today because we're talking about the heart, and also because it's, the holidays, celebrating Christmas. And sometimes when we get into the holidays, our emotions are on high. And so what I realized is that it could be a very emotional time. And if we're dealing with depression, if we're dealing with loneliness, it seems to magnify itself, So this topic right here, the heart of the matter, what's your heart's desire, I think is so perfect. So what's your heart desire? Not to be confused with what's your earthly desire. That's totally two different things. There's the heart's desire, and then there is our earthly desire. And when we talk about our heart's desire, we're talking about our spiritual heart that embodies a level of consciousness unto itself. In other words, it is not caught up with this external stuff. The one thing about Regina and her book, and also clutter, and being able to let things go, because a lot of times we get caught up with external desires, and we somehow think that if we accomplish, if we get these things that we feel like will give us what it is that we need from within, and then once we obtain them, we realize that there's still that emptiness, there's still that piece of us that is not fulfilled, because that is our external, that is our earthly desires. Now, it's okay to have earthly desires, but understand that it is not the earthly desires that gives us our fulfillment, and it does not connect to what it is our heart's desire is. So our spiritual, that embodies that level of consciousness unto itself. But what is more important is the key to our deepest fulfillment and the doorway to experiencing a deeper relationship with the Creator, with the source, is our heart's desire. Our heart's desire, which is profound peace, gratitude, joy, safety, and unconditional love, which is love. See, our heart's desire is connected to profound peace. Now, let me explain. There's a difference between superficial peace and profound peace. Superficial peace is that peace that we have that when we get triggered, we can go from 1 to 100 in a matter of seconds. Like, I thought I was happy. I was going through and all, my life was good, but, they triggered me. That's superficial peace. But that profound peace is that peace that is connected to the knowing that no matter what is going on externally, we know that deep within all is well. See, that's the piece that is connected to our heart's desire, that piece. There are many different functions associated with the heart. There's an overlap in terms. Sometimes we call it spirit, sometimes we call it mind, and sometimes we call it heart. But overall, the heart is the seat or the core of our inner nature that is connected to God, which is love. See, our heart's desire, our heart is connected to the core of our being. And the beauty of that is that it is not caught up with man-made situations. When you are talking about what's my heart's desire, we're talking about what's my soul's desire. What is that desire within me that is constantly connected to the source, which is love? Our heart's desire is always what's for our highest good. Our heart's desire is what brings us profound peace. Our heart's desire is what gives us gratitude in spite of. When you connect to your heart's desire, you move through life on a whole different level of consciousness. And what you recognize is that my joy is now and not when I get to where I think I should be. See, if you can't have profound peace now, if you can't have profound joy now, don't think that when you get that promotion or when you get into a relationship or when you buy that car that you've always wanted, somehow it's going to give you the fulfillment that you desire, because it doesn't. Because you bring that to the situation. And the only way you're able to do that is to have your heart's desire, to pull back layers and layers of despair, layers of disappointment, layers of rejection. Because the heart, which is buried, which is always there, the seat at the core of your being, recognizes that we don't need the external stuff in order for us to have and to be all that we are. I am who I am without the titles. It took me a minute to get that my heart's desire is acceptance of who I am, not of what I do, not of what I'm becoming, not of my titles. All of those things can be given and can be taken away. That makes you very vulnerable and powerless. If your heart's desire or if your mind makes you connect to this external, when it's taken away, then your joy is taken away. When it's taken away, or when you coming out of a relationship that you know there's no longer the relationship for your fulfillment, then your peace is gone. When your children may not be doing the things that you want them to do, then your peace of mind is gone. When somebody maybe not like you anymore, it's gone. Because you are connected to the external, but at the seat of your being, your creation, you're connected to the source. And that source is your heart beating, knowing that all is well. The heart is the core of your being. And today we're discovering what is its desire. It's the core. It is your existence. What is its desire? Because it knows that you're going to have these human experiences. It knows that you came here to have human experiences. But it also knows that your human experiences do not define who you are. Woo! Isn't that powerful? I'm going to have some experiences because I'm human. I'm here to have those experiences, but those experiences don't define who I am. And when you can get that, you can let go of clutter. You know, when I knew today
sister.
when I knew today that Dr. Lark was going to be speaking, yesterday, you know, nothing is a coincidence. And I just got this desire yesterday to let go of some clutter. I think it was a subliminal message. And so yesterday I went through some drawers, and do you know, I actually got rid of an entire big trash bag full of bras. I think I still have my training bra. I don't know why I was holding on to all those bras. But today when I got up and pulled out my drawer, how good it felt to be able to look in my drawer and be able to see, here's my bras, here's my underwear. Wow, because when your heart's desire is to not have to realize you don't need all this stuff around you in order to feel some kind of way. I don't know why I felt like I needed all these bras to feel some kind of way. And I only used maybe 5 bras, but I had maybe about 60. Ooh, the heart, which is at the core of our being. The heart, see, it's separate from your mind. See, our mind is always connected to like external. Our mind is constantly telling us what we didn't do. We're not good enough. Our mind is constantly telling us that we need to do this, or when we get here, or if we obtain that, or if we get the degree, or, you know. But our heart is like saying, no, that's not my desire. My desire is always for you to recognize that I'm here, that profound peace, profound joy, profound gratitude is not connected to being accepted. The only thing you're required to do is accept who you are. What's beyond the possessions, the careers, the status, the successes, people pleasing, living up to others' expectations? What's left after the children, the husband, after the struggle? What's our desire at the core of our being? We say we want world peace. Well, we can't have world peace because peace starts within. If I become peaceful, if I begin to accept who I am, that I was created perfectly with who I am, that the texture of my hair is good, the color of my skin is beautiful. If I'm at peace with that, then I can be at peace with the world. We say that we want equality. Am I fair with myself? How many of us have not been fair with ourselves? You hold things against yourself. No one else has to tear you down because you can tear yourself down because you know you more than anybody else. And I've heard this term, well, you know, we're only human. We are spiritual beings having a human experience, and having that human experience is not a negative. We didn't come here with a book or a manual. We didn't come here to be perfect. We came here to experience who we are. So if I want equality, I must be fair with myself. I must give myself a break. I must understand that that's where I was at that particular time, and what I got from that was priceless. But if I'm constantly judging myself, You know, when you get people that they can't give you forgiveness or they can't give you acceptance, you can't even imagine what hell they're going through within themselves. Because we can only give what we have. For me to be fair with you, I must first be fair with myself. That's my heart's desire. We want gratitude, being able to be grateful. My grandmother used to say, there's something always that you can be grateful for. If you open up your eyes and if you open up your heart, you'll recognize what it is. It could just be the heartbeat, but there's something always to be grateful for. You have some people in your life that are so negative. Good morning, well, girl, you know, it's just another day. Oh, the sun is out. Yes, girl, the sun is out, but you know it's cold. You can always find something to be grateful. And when you begin your day on gratitude, it makes for a very profound and enjoyable day. If you're not enjoying your life, it's because you are not living to your heart's desire. We're not here to suffer. That's our choice. We're here to accept and move on. And if you can, listen, I was sharing with someone one day that when I was a Christian, because I'm not anymore, I don't have labels, I just am. But when I was following the Christian, philosophy, the base, and I was calling myself a Christian, the one thing I recognized was that I had really never ran into a happy Christian. Ooh, did I say that? I had never ran into a happy Christian. I was like, girl, if you're supposed to be this connected, you would think that that would bring you some sort of joy. But no, it was always the struggle. And, I'm trying to live up for God. And God is not, I'm trying to be pleasing in the eyesight of God. Girl, this ain't got nothing to do with that. And love, unconditional love, acceptance of myself as God, as love has created to me, not being caught up with the illusions of life. I remember coming up, if you wasn't blonde and blue eyes, you wasn't accepted. You wasn't considered the level of beauty. Today, girl, this is beauty for me because this is how God created me. That's how God created you. And you are beautiful in the eyesight of love of God. And now with acceptance of yourself. That's the desire of your heart, is simply to accept who you are, all of you. All of you. To be able to see the illusions of life, which was created to separate us. To keep us separate. To tell us that, we need to fit into this mold in order to be accepted. But you know what I love more than anything is our differences. I wouldn't want everybody to be like me. It's hard being like me for me. I wouldn't put that task on nobody else. But what I love is when you have the courage to be authentically who you are. There's nothing more beautiful than that. Nothing more beautiful than that. And not the illusion that we should all fit into a certain mold. We are here to express ourselves. We are God, knowing God as ourselves. And if God just wanted to be God, we would not be here. There's a story that says, I'm a star, I'm a light, I'm bright. And the star said, but it's not enough to know I'm a star. I want to experience being a star. and said the star left and came down to the darkness. And in the darkness, the star could see itself. It could see itself as the star by the choices that it made, by the experiences that it's had. See, your heart's desire is acceptance of all of who you really are. And when you can do that, you have profound peace. That peace that is connected to truth, that peace that knows that all is well, even in the pandemic, that peace that recognizes, that know that you might be alone and you might not be in the relationship you feel that you should be in, but you're in the most important relationship you will ever be in if you are in a relationship with yourself. That peace, that's your heart's desire. Ooh. Our heart's desire said that this is a human race for now, and that our real religion should be love for now, and that we are able to stop fighting each other, but start accepting each other if we are able to accept ourselves. Listen, the heart is not caught up with man-made situations. That's why after you won the race, after you set out and accomplish all these things, and you still don't feel the fulfillment, that's because that's man-made, that's external. Getting down to the heart of the matter. I was talking to Reverend Patty, and she said, oh girl, get down to the heart. And this is the heart of the matter. Now, Psalms 34 says, delight yourself in the Lord, and love, and the Lord will give you the desires of your heart. And what that is saying is, enjoy yourself in love, and love will give you the desires of your heart. Delight yourself within yourself. Ooh. This is about having the ability of experiencing all of who you are. So what's my heart's desire? Is to just be. And when you're not caught up with trying to be for other people, all these labels, financial status, you have friends that, I've had friends or people that were millionaires that committed suicide. I've had friends that had homes on top of the hills and they were still miserable. They felt trapped. I've had people that were driving their cars that they said, this is my car. This is the one I've always wanted. And inside their car, they were tormented. Our heart's desire is separate from our man-made or our mind's desire. Our heart's desire is that we have the courage not to allow the things that we experience or the things that happen to us become us. Our heart's desire is that we always understand that there is a level of peace that we can always connect to. It is always there once we release and let go of all the external things. Our heart's desire is to know that love is all that there is. What's your heart's desire? Profound peace. What's your heart's desire? Profound joy. What's your heart's desire? To live life and live it more abundantly from within. God bless you. Thank you.